what would Gann do? This is a simple sentence that my dad taught me when I was trading to help me just focus in on the price action and extend from there instead of getting overwhelmed by all the news, economic data, wars, everything else that could be going on at any given time. This has been super helpful in many periods of my trading analysis, and it's definitely applicable now. We just heard that GDP for Q4 was half of what it was actually thought to be, so that could be a sign of a weakening economy. We have oil on the rise because of everything going on in Iran and the stock market being affected accordingly and liquidity leaving. And right now, it doesn't look like people are really buying the dip. So what do you do with all that? Well, I'm going to take this moment here to give you a technique that you can use now. And when these types of things happen again, we're going to look at price action, market timing, and momentum because I'm him already, and that's what I do. So when we say what would Gann do, we're talking about the man, William Delbert Gann, Gann, my mentor from the books he wrote. And that's how I learned about trading techniques through my dad's voice, all right? So when I look at the chart of the E-mini S&P 500 futures, which this is the March 2026 contract, it's going to roll or move to the June contract next week. So I'll provide a video update about how I roll contracts as that process unfolds. But the analysis is still applicable, and I'll just translate it to the June contract later. So if we take a look at the ESH26 right now, and we just zoom in on the recent action, we can see that ever since the past couple of weeks when all the activity, to say the least, started in Iran, the market has been lower overall. And this week it recovered, but then has been lower since. So again, you got to just kind of take yourself out of all the noise for a moment. Now, I'm not saying not to pay attention to the news or to be aware of press conferences, but if you keep trading only by that or waiting for that, you're going to just be sitting on your hands instead of being able to deploy your trading approach. So my trading approach is built off support and resistance in multiple ways. One is straight up price highs and lows, right? Where did the market actually go in turn? Two is trend lines. And three is in the shape of forecasting, because even though forecasting is about figuring out where the market's going to go, it actually gives you a target, a potential support or resistance. So I'm going to take a second here and draw a forecast based on where things stand now, knowing that the world is a little bananas right now and it could change. All right, so what I did was drop down to the 60-minute chart. Again, this is the March contract. So when I go to look at the markets on Monday, it'll be the June contract, which will be different. But the structure of the market is very similar. It's just slightly different pricing by usually a couple points or maybe even ticks. Based on forecasting methods, beginning in the middle of this move lower, okay? So I teach all that in the loss forecasting trading system. I drew a forecast now to kind of give me perspective on what may happen at the next turn. And based on the current weakening action of the market, the forecast is for futures to trade down to 6616.75 by Monday, March 16th at 6 a.m. Eastern. Now, the futures markets are only closed on the weekend, but they actually pick back up on Sunday evening. So at 6 a.m. Eastern on Monday, this thing will be active. So that is sort of the magnet pulling price and time to it. So what does this tell me? A couple things. It tells me, hey, the expectation is for maybe a steadier move, a slower down move than what we have unfolding. So this forecast could be missed in that the market could actually drop lower than the price target. And that's okay. This is just a guide to show me where things may be headed, but I also know because of loss forecasting how to pivot, right? So I'm just explaining where the techniques are that I teach. It's up to you if you want to learn them. But you need to understand that anything that you use in your trading is going to have a set of guidelines around it. So I can share this forecast with you publicly, but I'm telling you as well that this forecast is only valid while we stay beneath the low at 6760.75 from 8 a.m. on March 12th. Okay, that's what the approach says. All right, so let's go do the same thing on oil, because the way oil is moving right now is dictating a lot of what could happen in other markets. So if you had not been paying attention to oil until all of this activity in Iran started, you might have felt, okay, oil is like pretty boring. It's just kind of range bound between $50 and $75 for a long time, all of last year into early this year. And then boom, we had a gap higher, it chilled out, and then it has kept going up from there, had a pullback, and it's higher again. Now, it hasn't taken out the high yet from the March 9th range. That was a big spike high, so it had a very wide range day, but landed with the open and close relatively near each other. And we can do the same thing and prepare to forecast, knowing that there's lots of volatile forces out there that could affect this, but at least it gives you a near-term target. So here's what is likely to unfold. On the 60-minute chart of oil futures, now this is the continuous contract because oil futures have 12 contracts, one per month, and I don't want to keep rolling the chart when I'm observing this. I'm not trading oil futures directly. What you see here, though, is the forecast is for oil futures to trade back to 100.25, yes, above $100 a barrel again, by 0000 on March 16th. Well, what's that? Well, that's the midnight hour. What would happen after that is 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and that's military time for you. So by midnight, when futures are open again on oil futures, on Sunday night until Monday, so March 16th, right? That's what the target is. So you can see this is the magnet pulling this price action up and to the right. And right now we're kind of steady and on the path. Now, this is the way that forecasting should be done instead of trying to make big long-term forecasts and then have to deal with all the wiggles and changes in between. So in my loss forecasting trading system, I also teach what the ideal cycle lengths are for you to measure, and I'm deploying that now. All right. Now, I've been talking a lot about price action and forecasting. What about momentum, right? I love my RSI Power Zones. Well, here in the oil chart, what's really cool is that in addition to being able to draw forecasts and expect upside, right now, the RSI Power Zones on the oil 60-minute chart are showing a pattern setup that suggests a continuation of the upside, and it actually provides a price target. Now, I teach how to calculate this in my 4 Zones RSI coverage system, which if you're seeing this video live when I posted it, we have that program, that course on special right now. So check your email and keep tabs. And I'm going to calculate for you what that pattern target would be. So based on what's happening between price and momentum right now, the minimum upside target based on the momentum pattern is 98.67. And that pattern target does not have a time factor to it because it's not a forecast, it's a momentum target. What's cool is now that I have 2 different disciplines, momentum trading and forecasting, both showing me the potential for upside and giving me actual price targets I can monitor. So that is a look at how to approach these markets right now, especially when there's lots of almost hour-to-hour news and changes, not to mention the regularly scheduled economic data, Fed meetings, and everything else. So be sure to incorporate this into your trading. Remember, ask yourself, what would Gann do? Or whoever your trading mentor may be, what would they do in that moment? And the first thing is they clear their plate of all the noise and clutter and come back to their winning tried and true techniques. So if you found value in this video with the actual ES or oil analysis and targets, or just the technical reminders in general, or both, go ahead and hit the like button and I'll catch you in the next video.